Today I want to talk about phasing. Basically, we pretend that phased out permanent doesn't exist until that permanent's controller's next untap step before things untapped, and then it comes back. If a creature you control phases back in, it doesn't have summoning sickness. Equipment, auras, or fortifications that were attached to the permanent, or counters that were on the permanent, phase out along with it and come back with it. It used to be the case that tokens would cease to exist, but they've taken that rule away now, so tokens will now come back. Phasing out doesn't count as it changing any zone. Enter the battlefield or leave the battlefield effects won't trigger. But any continuous effects that care for as long as you control that permanent will end. Continuous effects are different from delayed triggers, so something like Blitz creates a delayed trigger for the creature and it'll ask that once and then it won't ask it again. So if you phase out a Blitz creature, it'll ask to sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, but since it doesn't exist, you don't have to sacrifice it. But things that say until end of turn will expire for the phased out permanent. If you active trees in your opponent's creature and phase it out, at the beginning of your next untap step, it'll go straight back to your opponent. Another interesting thing to note is that if you skip your untap step, your permanents don't phase back in. But don't use Teferi's protection if your opponent's control stasis on the board.